The service of remembering your baptism is an opportunity for us not so much to remember our baptisms in like a cognitive, hey, I remember when that happened, because a lot of folks were baptized at a very, very early age and you don't remember it, and that's okay, because that's not the point. It's more about celebrating the fact of your baptism. It's more about making a memorial to God's gracious and powerful and life-giving love in your life, even before you knew He was active. I sometimes like to help people try to understand what happens in baptism by comparing it to the Lord's Supper. In baptism, like we have two sacraments. Sacraments are outward and visible signs of inward and spiritual grace. It means God is acting graciously when we participate in the sacraments. We have two. One is baptism, the other is communion or the Lord's Supper. That's the bread and the juice, and we do that once a month on the first Sunday of the month. But we have two sacraments. One of them, we receive something passively. Guess which one that is? Baptism. It's done to us. Water is placed upon us, whether we're immersed or whether water's poured or sprinkled or however. And in that moment, we are initiated into a covenant. A covenant is a promise. And in this instance, the one who's making the promise is God. No matter how old you are, whether your parents brought you when you were a few months old, we're going to do that next week, so come back, or whether you were 6 or 7 or 60, when that water goes on your head and your pastor says, I baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, the one who's doing the work isn't the preacher. It's God. God is acting through His church to bring you into His covenant of unfailing love. He's doing, you're receiving. And that, friends, is a beautiful image of His grace. Because it doesn't depend on anything in me, not my knowledge, not my ability to articulate the gospel, not any effort that I've done or any work that I've put out or anything. It's just God lavishing the water of His perfect love over our lives. It's passive. One of the sacraments is, we said, active. You should be able to figure this one out because there's only two. We receive something in baptism, it's given to us. But at the Lord's Supper, you're invited to do something, aren't you? Every week, every month, there's an invitation to come, to take, and to eat. And so, we baptize once, but we eat all the time, don't we? Anybody know why? Think about it this way. You get born once. I'm guessing you've already eaten today. And you'll eat again in a little while, and you'll eat again tomorrow. You get born once, but you eat every day. You enter into a covenant with God once. He makes those promises once. He doesn't have to make them again because they're always good. They last. He makes His promises. He brings you into His covenant. He sets His covenantal love on you. And He never goes back on His promises. And then He says, come to my table. I've prepared a place for you. I've put out my best. I'm offering myself. I'm going to feed you. Not just once. Again and again and again. So today we're going to do a memorial and a thanksgiving of three folks' baptism. The reason we're not rebaptizing them, remember who does the action in baptism? What would it say if we did it again? It might suggest, that's right, Shannon, that God didn't get it right the first time. Far be it from me to ever suggest or imply with anything I do that the promises of God are at fault in any way. Never, never, never. We don't all know the stories of our brother and sisters who are going to come in just a moment. But all our stories have times where we held God at a distance. Some of our stories involve maybe times where we felt really far away from God. Like life did not go the way we thought it was going to go, and we were pretty skeptical of those Christians. Yeah, they baptized me when I was a baby. I didn't know what was going on, but I'm hurt by the church or just distant. The reason we celebrate that thing that happened a long time ago on days like today is because when God starts His grace, no matter how far away from Him we walk, He's still at work. And what happens on a day when we recommit ourselves or offer ourselves once again, or celebrate that covenant afresh, what you see is a climactic fulfillment of something that was started maybe decades ago. And it's always, 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 always a testimony to the faithfulness of God. So today we're going to celebrate the faithfulness of God.